And our guest of honour now coming out is the Right Honourable Virginia Bottomley, Secretary of State for National Heritage, who's the chief guest today and certainly well wrapped up. It's turned after quite a pleasant morning into quite a bleak afternoon. A word there for the young Leeds United mascot, with Gary McAllister alongside him. Gordon McCaig, the president of the Football League, also there. There's big John Lukic, the goalkeeper. And Lucas Radeby from South Africa. Also accompanying Mrs. Bottomley would be the president of Coca-Cola Northwest Europe, Gavin Darby, and David Dent, the secretary of the Football League. Carlton Palmer there. So 1 or 2 Wembley appearances. Harry Kelly, the young Irish fullback. And there's Tony Yeboah from Ghana. Of course, a place in Europe awaiting. There's young Andy Gray, just 18 years old. My goodness, doesn't he look like his dad, Frank Gray? Brian Dean, one of the substitutes. He might have thought after his 2 goals against Everton last weekend that he might be in the starting lineup. Not so. Nigel Worthington, another of the substitutes. Thomas Brolin, the other substitute, Swedish international. No goalkeeper, you'll notice, amongst the Leeds United substitutes today. Howard Wilkinson. He's taken a gamble on young Andy Gray, a gamble too on no goalkeeper amongst the substitutes. But he's an assured man who's had 8 years at Leeds United, and he certainly knows what he's about. Andy Townsend. Far cry from those days when he played at Welling and Weymouth. A lad born in Maidstone. The goalkeeper, Mark Bosnich. Johnson there, who is so near to being fit.
Well, you know all these players so well, Ron, and what their temperament is and how they'll be feeling now.
That lad there, Hugo, won't be feeling a thing. He is as strong-minded a lad as I've ever met in my life.
There's Milosevic, whose English, I'm told, is improving, but whether it's good enough for this, I don't know. Came from Partizan of Belgrade. Taylor's got a big part to play in midfield.
I think the lads might appreciate it if the lady hurried on a little bit, you know, getting back to what Jack was saying before the game.
Gareth Southgate with a word there.
Mrs. Bottomley spending an awful lot of time with each player, but I think then the players are more focused on what the job in hand.
Mary Charles, the fullback. Been here before with Nottingham Forest. Yeah, I think the players probably prefer it when they just zap down the line and good luck and the rest of it.
Tell you what has been nice in recent years.
And Dwight York there,
oh, yeah.
Ron.
Yeah, he'll love it. He'll love it, yeah. He'll enjoy every moment.
People write to me and say his smile lights up the whole of football, and you can see just what they mean. He certainly had plenty to smile about this season. Young Michael Oakes, the reserve goalkeeper furthest there at the other side of Steve Staunton. His dad, Alan Oakes, of course, played here for Manchester City. You were going to tell me something then.
Just trying to think what it was, Brian, at the time, actually. No, I was thinking that they've had a recent trend, haven't they? Like when we were here, Nat Lofthouse was presenting. I think that's terrific, you know, when they have sort of the legends doing it. Stanley Matthews has done it, hasn't he?
Ryan Little there, and then the referee, Robbie Harper of Darlington, 48 years old. It's his last season on the list. taken rather a long time, this. There's two linesmen, Brian Poddington of Sheffield and Martin Sims, and the reserve official Jim Rushton of Stoke-on-Trent. And now we get the national anthem. The muscles get stretched now, and their first job is just to remind you of the line-ups. Villa with that settled look about them. They'll play a game with three centre-backs, Southgate, McGrath and Ekiol, and expect the full-backs Charles and Wright to storm quickly into opposing territory. Three in the midfield, and then the combination of Milosevic and York in attack, which has worked so well for Villa. Manager Brian Little then, what about his preparations?
Tried to worry about the whole week about making sure all the preparations right, making sure the players are okay. I think a little bit more worried than you would do as a player. Everything's there for you, but it's still a sort of day that you'd want to be involved in, even though there's a lot of hassles. You know what I mean? And you believe me, there are a lot of hassles coming to a place like this today. I mean, the last week has just been one thing after another, but it lets you know you're in a big game for sure.
Check on Leeds United. They've gambled. 18-year-old Andy Gray comes into their attack alongside Yeboah. They also have three centre-backs today, Radibi, Pemberton and Weatherall, with Palmer going into the midfield, and Speed, who fractured a cheekbone only 31 days ago, plays as a forward-looking left-back. Here's the Leeds manager, Howard Wilkinson, in a positive mood.
Well, obviously it's a tremendous occasion, but you know, on the middle it just says winners and runners up. So you don't want that one that says runners up on it. It doesn't say anything else, played well or whatever, it just says winners. So now we're here, let's get on with winning.
Well, we've seen Robbie Hart of Darlington, the referee. That, incidentally, is a sneak preview of the kit referees will be wearing in the league next season. Harry McAllister there, ready for the handshake. Subs then for Villa, Steve Staunton, Michael Oakes, the goalkeeper, and Tommy Johnson. Three outfield players for Leeds, Brian Dean, a striker, Thomas Brolin, who can flit around and score the goal or two, and Nigel Worthington, normally playing somewhere around the left-back area. So many of the critics have been saying, Ron, that the quality of this game will depend entirely upon the mental attitude of Leeds United. If they're coming here to play and to entertain, then it'll be a terrific final. If they come here with rather negative thoughts, then it won't be. My feeling is that they'll come here. Very interesting to hear Howard Wilkinson saying, we're here to win.
Yeah, they're here to win. I think if they can win and entertain, Howard would love that. But first and foremost, we know what Howard's like. We've seen his team. He's picked a mirror image of the Villa team, I think. He's looked at cancelling out their strengths, and I think Howard's, as I say, if it's entertaining, good. He's come to win. If it means sort of scraping a 1-0 victory, he'll take that.
Well, there's a match winner, Tony Yeboah. £3.4 million he cost from Eintracht Frankfurt. Scored in both legs of the semi-finals against Birmingham City, and really has a patent on the most spectacular of goals.
I would be very surprised. You know, look, we've just seen the two strikers, Dwight and Tony Yeboah. I think they're going to have very, very few chances today. I think there's going to be an awful lot of, if you like, war of attritions going on in midfield. Certainly in the wide areas, Speed against Charles. Who's going to win that battle? On the other side, Gary Kelly against Alan Wright. You know, that's a stifling system. Whoever wins those battles is going to go a major part towards winning the game.
Well, here's a man who may not have thought he was playing a couple of 3 weeks ago when he fractured his cheekbone in a cup tie against Port Vale, Gary Speed. And here's Savo Milosevic, his first season at Villa, and he's worked up a terrific following there at Villa Park. He's never scored in a Coca-Cola Cup game, there's Savo Milosevic. He's taken the brunt of a good deal of criticism for some of the misses that he makes, and so often in high-profile games it seems on television. Well, he may have the answer for everybody today. Still only 22 years old. Dwight York still only 24 years old. And away we go. The Coca-Cola Cup final of 1996. Villa in the claret and blue. Here's Gary Charles for them. Pumping it forward again towards Dwight York. And there was a foul there by Pemberton on York in the opening seconds. And a free kick to Aston Villa. Townsend behind this. Draper behind it. Ekiog's up from the back. Milosevic will be one that they look for. McGrath's up from the back as well. But Villa get it away, or rather Leeds get it away quite comfortably. Dinked in again nicely there. This an offside flag up against Dwight York. And quite clearly offside. Game today that generates something like £2.5 million in gate receipts. Lukic with the kick. Right to York again. Draper, good break from the midfield here. And Villa are up in strength as well. They're a 4 up. But Draper being forced wide there by some good tracking by Carlton Palmer. But Villa's throw. Charles with it. Milosevic. Draper. Townsend. Speed defending. Another throw for Villa. Charles with the throw, finding York, getting some support from Townsend in there. York with chance to just play it to Milosevic. No power, no problem. A comfortable early touch for Lukic.
Villa look to be brimming with confidence at the moment, Brian. Nice and bright. 1 or 2 good little passing movements. A very sharp little throw in there that nearly brought dividends for them.
McAllister in quickly. It was Gary Kelly who was right in there, right amongst the front runners too. Yeah,
the unfortunate thing was he was facing, he had his back to goal. I mean, Gary Kelly is going into uncharted territory there as a natural defender. I think if that had been ahead of him, that would have been a shooting opportunity.
Well, now the action swings to this end, a corner which McAllister will take, and Weatherall's up from the back. Radib is in there too. Yeboah will be a target.
Don't bet against the number 11 Speed. He is excellent in the air.
Speed, let's look for him as well then. It's a driven one there towards Weatherall. And Townsend in the end gives away a throw.
You can bet your life that Howard Wilkinson has spent hours upon hours this week on his preparation on set situations.
Speed with the throw. And again it's Speed to Ford. Speed. Mark Ford again, a nice little ball played for Andy Gray. He It's done well, but he's just run it out of play. But the 18-year-old, in fact, Howard Wilkinson was telling me yesterday, don't worry about his temperament, he's quite all right. And I noticed actually, Ron, just when that corner was being taken a little earlier on, let's have a look at this first, that it's a corner, that he was actually scrapping with the Villa players. They were trying to hold him up, and he was not going to be intimidated by those Villa defenders.
Well, he's quite a tall young man, isn't he?
He
I mean,
is.
he showed an excellent awareness then with the movement, and I thought he was a bit unlucky not to get it. He was edged out a little bit by Andy Townsend on that move.
Well, here's a free kick now for Villa, which Mark Draper will take. Ekiog's up. Paul McGrath's up again.
Previous one, Dwight York spun right round the back of this into free space.
And it'll be... In fact, there's a flag up for an offside, so it's a free kick to Leeds.
There's menace from both teams, isn't there? I mean,
Yes.
when Villa send, like you said, McGrath, Ekiog, Big Taylor can get in there. And Dwight and Milosevic, of course.
Remember, this is the 7th final in this competition for Aston Villa. It equals the record of Liverpool. And if Villa do win today, then their 5 victories will also match those of Liverpool's. Gray. This is Radibi, the South African. It's an excellent ball he's slung out there for Gary Kelly, but well, Kelly couldn't quite keep it in.
Don't think I've seen anybody hit a cross-field ball at Wembley since Jimmy Schooler used to hit them like that. Like he had a 3-wood out hitting that one.
Alan Wright with the throw. Milosevic. He's a handful. Don't worry, he's a handful. He'll miss goals, but he'll go on fighting for them. Here's Yeboah. Found it there, and beaten beautifully there by Ekiog, and Radibi gets it back to Lukic. Should be no nerves about Lukic, his 17th season as a pro, the Leeds goalkeeper. Won a league title with Arsenal and with Leeds. Here's Milosevic. Radibi having a little hack at him. Townsend. Draper. Milosevic lying just a little bit deeper at the moment. Ford just getting the foot in for a moment. Now Townsend in support for Villa. Southgate. Draper. Kelly looking around.
There's a very, very slick interchange of play between Draper and Andy Townsend going on at the moment, and it's important for Leeds that McAllister and Carlton Palmer make sure that nobody, and Ford, young Ford to that extent, make sure they don't run off the back of them. And a couple of throw-ins, Andy Townsend's lost his marker, and a little bit of more luck could be in a very, very dangerous position.
Well, Howard Wilkinson, who in fact has moved Carlton Palmer out of the back 4 where he's been playing lately into the midfield. And I think a lot of us felt that maybe he'd be marking Dwight York, but you said before the start, no, he's not going to do that, and he isn't, is he?
No, I think they've got to get him in there to match Villa's energy, which they will obviously do. Young Ford will just sit and prompt. There'll be a big responsibility on McAllister and Palmer to sort of win the battle in there against Draper and Townsend. I did think that Howard may have took a little bit of a gamble and pushed Pemberton, who can do that job, onto Dwight York.
Brian Little, the Aston Villa manager. Certainly got Villa moving this season again. They're 4th in the Premiership, remember. They have an FA Cup semi-final coming up as well. Lukic. Hit long, McGrath there. Sure, as reliable as ever against Yeboah. Yeboah getting his ball back now to Frankie Gray, or to Andy Gray, son of Frankie Gray. Bosnich, then the Villa goal. From Fairfield, Australia. Hitting it long. jumping, not making a contact. Radibi gets it away. Strong challenge there by McAllister. Looked as though there might have been a bit of elbow leading towards Paul McGrath there.
He said go Gary McAllister there, but he was always trying to make up the ground.
Free kick to Villa, which Southgate will take.